Eccoci. Vediamo se sentiamo tutto.
Hello,
Okay.
it's our new theme song.
Hello. Yeah. Maybe the first part is fucked up. So, ora we repeat, ragazzi, quindi non si sentiva, adesso forse probabilmente si sente.
Sì.
Siamo qui con Ron Thal, BUMBLEFOOT, e abbiamo visto il primo video, una dimostrazione da Young Guitar. Adesso lasceremo chiaramente la parola a BUMBLEFOOT. Fateci sapere se adesso si sente, chiaramente. Quindi un benvenuto e iniziamo. Hi man, how are you?
Good. How's everybody over there? You enjoying the heat?
Yeah. So hot there.
It's warm there, yeah.
Yeah.
It's cooling down here in New Jersey, near New York. It's starting to cool down at night. So yeah, but it's all right. Everything is good. Yeah. Like I was saying before, just a quiet day in the studio.
Yeah, cool. So, just talk about this period. So this strange period. How do you pass your planetary lockdown?
Well, I was with Sons of Apollo in Europe right as everything was starting to blow up.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we were supposed to play. Milan was one of our first shows we were going to go to.
Mm-hmm.
And as everything exploded there. So we put all our things in storage and got home right before the borders were closing. And since then, I've just been seeing this, as crazy of a time as it is, as one big giant opportunity. We were all given the gift of unexpected time, which is probably one of the best gifts we can ever get. And then it's up to us what we do with this gift. So I've been doing a lot of learning and a ton of recording and writing and just a lot of studio work and doing a lot of things I haven't been able to do. Of course, dealing with the illness, it's been big in New York and New Jersey and in the people that I grew up with and my family and everybody. It's been more funerals in the past few months than in the past 10 years.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But at the same time, we have to do what we can to create good memories. So, for example, like I was telling you before we started about the $1,000 whiskey.
Yeah.
Friend of mine, like we were talking about this whiskey, this very rare whiskey that was two different aged whiskeys that in 1967, 53 years ago, someone put them together and aged them for another 35 years. And it's very rare, and it's about $1,000 for a bottle.
Wow.
And we got our hands on a bottle. And we were going to all chip in, a bunch of friends, and chip in for this bottle of whiskey and then all get together and try it. And one of my friends, crazy guy, he just went and got it himself. So we got together on Saturday and tried the whiskey, and it was very nice.
Wow.
So that's one thing that I'll remember from 2020 is probably the only time that I'll ever taste $1,000 whiskey.
Yeah.
And little things that, you spend so much time touring and trying to squeeze life into the spaces in between those tours.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just in this. It's like being a hamster on a hamster wheel, just running.
Yeah.
And this studio that I've had this, it's a second house, and I've had it for about 18 years that I used to make music in. And this is the first time in 18 years that I've realized that in July and August, for a period of about maybe just a month, all these fresh blackberries and raspberries grow around the backyard, and I didn't know. So for the first time in 18 years, I had the chance every day to get here and just pick wild berries and fill up the container with berries every day. And my wife would make cobbler and muffins and all this stuff. So the things I'm going to remember from 2020 is that for 18 years, I missed out on this moment that would happen every year, right here, that I was never here to enjoy. And I finally got to enjoy it and didn't even know it was there. And you realize that there's so many things that we didn't know was there. And this year was a chance to experience that. Everything that we do, whatever we major in life, this was a chance to really work on what we minor in. So everybody got a chance to maybe become better video editors that they never got to, or like whatever it is. Like this is the time that we got to grow in ways that we never could make time to do. So as horrible as this pandemic has been, we need to find a way to, it may sound ridiculous, but to be grateful and to be thankful that things turned out the way we did, where if we were responsible and we were lucky and we stayed healthy and everyone around us stayed healthy, that we were given a chance to make use of this time in a different way that we never would have. So
we learned to slow our life, to take.
And you realize that what we do on that hamster wheel, that's not necessarily our value and what defines us and what living is. We don't need that to be who we are, and for our life to have value and for it to have meaning and for it to be enjoyable and to be purposeful. Just being can be enough. And what we do from there is extra.
Thanks for these words. I completely agree with you. And now, how is the situation here in New Jersey?
It's still pretty fucked. It's still the same. It's slowed down. It's definitely slowed down. Like New Jersey is not considered one of the hot states where the pandemic is exploding. Right now, it's more the Midwest, and there's more of the country that's still considered a hot state than not. I would say maybe 30 or more states are the hot ones. So luckily, less people are getting sick now, and if we just keep following the rules, hopefully it'll stay that way and simmer down. Because we don't know about reinfection. We don't know when a vaccine will come, if the vaccine will work for everybody, and we don't know. We don't know if we're carriers or not. We don't know how sick each of us can get. So we just have to be careful. And it's not about ourselves. It's about everyone else. We have to be careful so that we don't make other people sick if we're a carrier and if we are sick.
Sure.
And it's, the least we can do for each other is to just act responsibly. If not for yourself, if you want to act like you're brave and you're stronger than nature and you're a tough guy, fine. But for other people, just at least, act responsibly.
Sure. And so, in this period, of course, you make something on Instagram and on Facebook. So, what do you think is the most important thing that you can do as a musician on social network, if they works or not, and how you think that you could use one? Because also,
if I knew, I would have a lot more followers. I would say, well, you know what? All you can do is just do what you enjoy, and share it. And then the rest of the world will decide if they like it or not, if they're interested or not. But just be authentic, be genuine, and do what you love, and do something that, just share what you do. So make music, share the music. Show how you make the music. Share how you, show people that. Teach how you make the music. Like whatever you do, just share it with the rest of the world. And really, it's not about getting more numbers. I think we've gotten a little bit lost where we're measuring, value and worth by how many numbers we get on, whether it's likes or comments, whatever it is. It's not a game. Just do what you do and put it out there. And let the world decide from there. But the most important thing that really matters is you doing what you love and sharing it. That's all. And whatever happens from there, the world will decide. Yeah.
So, Andrew,
So that I just when I can, I'll just put a little video of playing and share. It's like, hey, I just shot a bunch of videos for Line 6 for the Helix plugins that I use with some Apollo, with other things, with my own stuff. So I made videos that for people who get the presets for their Helix, so that they know which Helix goes to which part of which song. I made videos that explain it all. So I just took little pieces of the video and put them on Instagram and Facebook. It's like, hey, here's a little crazy riff and from one of the parts for these videos, and just share it out there. And you don't know, if people care or not. And you know what? If one person cares, cool. If 10,000 people care, cool.
so
Because that one person, you might inspire that one person to go out and do something that inspires 1 million people. So it's all good. We're all part of the big web of humanity. Yeah.
So for a guitar player to have your song as your sound is enough to buy an Helix and your hands too.
Well, I mean, the hands. That's very true because you give Eddie Van Halen any guitar and any amp, and he'll still sound like Eddie Van Halen. It's in his hand. I wish I had his hands instead of my hands. But yeah, so it starts with the hands. So yeah, you know what? You don't want to sound like me anyway. You want to sound like you. Everybody should sound like themselves. So maybe my presets, certain effects that I use might inspire some ideas in someone for them to do what they do. Not necessarily what I do, but what they do. And they can tweak the presets and come up with something that's their own.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I know. So Andrea Martongelli, say hi to you.
Hey, Andrea! Andy! The amazing Andy. Yes.
And just to talk about your influences and your inspiration when you grew up as a guitar player.
Well, it started when I was about 5 years old. I heard the band Kiss, and I also was hearing just a lot of other music. I was hearing tons of Beatles, and just all the music that was around in the mid-'70s. And that was pretty much it. And when the Kiss Alive album came out, I heard that. I was 5 going on 6. And as soon as I heard that album, I was like, that's what I want to do. And that's what started it. So really, it wasn't about being a guitar player. It was about being in a band. My 2 favorite bands were the Beatles and Kiss.
Wow.
And what they had in common was that there was these 4 guys that you knew on a first-name basis. John, Paul, George, Ringo. Gene, Paul, Peter, Ace.
Yeah.
And when you thought of those names, each name had a sound. It was like a specific ingredient in that mix that made it taste like something that nothing else tasted like. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to be one of those names in a band that with 3 other guys or 4 or whatever it was that made something special, that made something that made people feel as good as that music made me feel. And that's what I did. So I wrote songs and I played whatever I played, like this on a keyboard, or I would go like this on a drum, or whatever a 6-year-old can do. And I would play a guitar originally like a drum. I would play beats. I didn't know how to play a guitar. I just use it like beats. I would go like and do stuff like that until someone showed me. It's like, no, you're supposed to play it like this. And I'm like, that makes no sense. You can't see the neck. You have to reach around. It's weird over here. Like it didn't make sense to me. And I should have just played it like this. Just played. But yeah, so did that, and I started taking lessons. I wanted to be a bass player originally because I like Gene Simmons, spitting the blood in the fire, the wings, all that. So I wanted to be a bass player, and I went to a music store to take lessons, and I was only 6 years old. I was too small. They didn't have any kid-sized basses. A bass was taller than I was. So they lied to me, and they said, in order to play bass, you have to start on a kid-sized acoustic guitar for 2 years. So they lied to me just to get 2 years of guitar lessons out of me. And so I went to guitar lessons, and I studied all the academics, the important stuff. Reading, music theory, And on my own time, I was writing songs and I was recording. I figured out on my own how to record using multiple cassette players to make multi-track recordings, and made demos with my little band. I took all the old cassettes before they snapped and transferred them and made wave files and stuff. I still have them from 1977. Let me find it. I'm going to find it right now while I speak, because I know on this hard drive there is some. Let me check. Audio 1977 to 2001 archives. Let's see. And let's try. Okay. Here's one practicing guitar at age 7. One of those. I was writing a song. Okay, I was going.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the beginning it was a lot of just the current music, which was classic rock. So every week, hey, a new AC/DC album came out. Hey, a new Pink Floyd album came out. A new Led Zeppelin album. A new Who album. Paul McCartney's got another solo album out. Queen, new album out. Hey, this new band called the Sex Pistols. Check them out. The Ramones. All of that stuff. And that's what I grew up on, and that's, what I listened to. And it really, the guitar playing continued, the songwriting continued, everything over the years grew, and I was very much into all the guitarists of the time, and from the past recent times. So Hendrix, Clapton, Page, Brian May, Angus Young. I loved Angus, that energy. And then it really wasn't until more of the new metal scene started, hearing Randy Rhoads and Eddie Van Halen. That's when I started viewing the guitar as something more than just a songwriting tool, but something that you can really express yourself with, and it can have its own identity that's beyond just being an ingredient to the song. It could really be the primary identity to a song even. And I started getting I started exploring a lot, started trying a lot of different things. And just continued. So from there, the usual suspects, hearing Yngwie and getting into that, and Steve Vai and Satch and all the heroes, the icons. And each one, you learn something from. And that was it. I just kept doing what I was doing. I'm doing the same thing now that I did at age 6. My first concerts, on show day, I would be taking a piece of paper and I would be cutting it up into tiny little pieces and taking little cups and filling them up with homemade confetti, so that at the end of the show I lived with my parents in the basement, set up all the chairs for everyone to watch the show, and after the show, they had cups of confetti to throw in the air for the end of the show. And I remember exactly 30 years later playing with Guns N' Roses, and we had these confetti cannons that would shoot all this confetti into the audience. And I remember just laughing, and I remember I said to myself as I was playing the final song, Paradise City, and all the confetti go off, and saying, I'm glad I didn't have to cut up the confetti on show day. But it's just funny how, I was doing the same thing, just, the technology grew, the production grew, everything grew. But the same thing I was doing at 6, doing now. Making recordings, writing songs, confetti in the air, everything. Playing shows, making merch. I would make little hand-drawn comic books that looked like a little kid drew them. And, for my classmates at school and stuff like that. So, yeah, I just followed what my heroes were doing. It's like, okay, they're writing songs, they're recording, they're touring, and they're making, merch, things for people to, memoirs, souvenirs, whatever it is. So I did the same. and just never stopped. And still doing it 45 years later.
Mm-hmm. Great.
So I know this is a difficult question, but which one is the favorite song from Beatles and favorite song from Kiss?
Impossible! It's impossible to say. It's like choosing between your,
I know.
favorite child
it's very difficult.
out of 200 children. I mean, it's, every song has something that you just love about it.
Yeah.
For me, we can talk about the Beatles for hours now. To me, George Harrison always was like the quiet, profound one, that when he gave a song, it was really special. Whether it was, just something about, think for yourself. That fuzz bass, as they called it. I got a word to say about the thing, or if it was, of course, the most popular one, Something, and Gently Weeps and stuff like that. But I mean, Old Brown Shoe.
Wow.
That bass line in there. Yeah, I'm in love with you. So glad you came here. I sang out on you. I mean, that bass line was killer. When I grow up, I'll sing it. Nice. He threw in diminished.
Yeah.
And so many of those songs, and even the post-Beatles stuff that he did, his odes to the Beatles, whether it was, one time we were fat.
Yeah.
That one, or those years ago. Like, when he made a song, it was a very, very special. So yeah, but I usually say my favorite Beatle was George Martin, the producer, because that fifth Beatle, he's the one that, for example, and I always tend to use this example, it's like, hey guys, I wrote a song called Scrambled Eggs. Now only Beatles fans would know what that song is. Okay, it goes like this. Scrambled eggs. And then someone else said, all right, let's take that. And when we go to the minor, let's give it a really strong, give it a lot of impact, give it a 2-5-1. Mm-hmm. Not a full, but we'll give it a harmonic minor. So now you have this. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's slow it down, it's too beautiful. And this thing is just, it could be just so heartfelt. We need something more than scrambled eggs. What does it remind you of? Longing for what? If you long for something, you're longing for something that happened. What happened? Well, yesterday I was eating scrambled eggs. Stop there. Just say yesterday. Okay. Yesterday. 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 Okay, and then it's too nice to just go right into it again. It becomes redundant. Let's make people long for it. So let's give it our big turnaround. We'll give it a. So now we have this, right? Okay, let's make the melody. Every phrase is simply there to finish at a point that's going to give it even more impact at that moment. So, every time we hit a new chord that has meaning, we're going to give it even more meaning with the melody by having it connect to the music and make the music more special by finishing with something that is in the chords themselves. Those notes. Yes. Students, arpeggios are not for going like this. This is a layout of the sweet notes that will connect to the music you're playing over, and that's what you want to do. You're not playing for yourself, you're playing for the music, and you want that music to be more profound. Every moment in that music, every time a chord changes, every time a progression comes around again, you have an opportunity to make it more special, and that is the only thing that gives your melody and your solo any value, is if it's serving the music in a good way. So with that, we have a melody. So every phrase in the melody will finish at one of those moments. So we are going to connect to the song, to the music, and we're going to sing notes that are in those chords. Yesterday, love was such an easy game to play. But we're not just your regular songwriter, we're Paul McCartney. So what we do is we know that if you come in and you delay that gratification just for one split second, or come in ahead of time and lead the people in with it, it's even better. It's less just, it has flow and motion and it moves. So we are going to leave everything suspended for just a little second. Yesterday. Again. There it is. Again. Now give it to me. Early. Everything that rings is part of the music. And then George Martin comes in. He's like, yes. And he brings in the cellos and he's like, make him sing. Little distance. Second melody. Harmonize it. So that is what made it special, is, you know, and any song can be special. Every single song can be anything. So that's an example of going from and turning to something that will outlive all of us, which is what you want your music to do. You want it to outlive you. Able to forever be sharing it and moved by it, and for it to be the soundtrack to something in their life. So, you just...
Allora. Aspetta, eccoci.
So, what's the last thing you heard me say?
Yeah.
We just missed, I think, 1 minute.
No, I don't think so. Let me try. Okay. I think... Ok, ci siamo?
Sì, ci siamo.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry about it.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, it's okay.
Just internet problem.
So maybe the internet doesn't like the George
Beatles.
Martin story. I don't know.
Yeah. The internet hates the Beatles.
The Beatles.
So,
And
okay,
what about...
we're back on? We're good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Okay.
So I don't know what came through before we, but I was talking about producing and talking about this band called the Doties.
No, I think it was good. Yeah. So
Okay, yeah. So you have the singer, who's very Kurt Cobainish, and the drummer plays the entire drum kit with one arm and plays keyboard bass with his left hand and sings backing vocals. And he grooves. He's got pocket, and they write great songs. So for them, you know, they already knew what they wanted. They had a million ideas. So it's more like co-producing, just helping to make sure that we capture them at their best. So no click track, no auto-tuning, none of that crap. Just let them play it like a gig with their real energy. Capture the spirit, capture the energy, capture the reality of who they are. And the album came out so good. It came out amazing. Yeah. So that's an example. And then with something else, you know, it might be the opposite of that, where it's all clicked and all nudging and all, you know, just fancy stuff. So it all depends, and it depends on the identity of the artist, and just make sure that you bring out who they are. That's what you want to do. Yeah.
Great. And can I ask you about your influence as a singer, because you're an excellent singer.
Singing, yeah. So singing, it was a lot of the higher range dudes. You know, there was everyone from Eric Adams, Man of War.
Okay.
Yeah, love Man of War. You know, definitely Ian Gillan, Deep Purple, Rob Halford, Bruce Dickinson, Robert Plant, Tony Harnell of TNT.
Oh, Tony Harnell, yeah.
But yeah, so I was always into you know, the high range stuff.
High stuff, yeah.
In fact, I remember the first time that I listened to your song called Higher, and there is the part where you make there was a time you was. It's incredible. Yeah, I think, wow, what a voice. Really incredible.
Yeah, I love them high notes.
Yeah,
so,
because I first know you as a guitar player. So I'm a guitar player, so I know you as a guitar player. And then when I discover you at with your album Little Brother is Watching, so I hear your voice for the first time, and then I listen to Abnormal and some other stuff, and wow. I don't know if I like you most of the singer part of the guitar player part.
Yeah, and I've always been a singer. I've actually pretty much always fronted the band. And just until Sons of Apollo and Guns and Art of Anarchy and later in life, just kind of going to the side. But from the beginning, even when I started on Shrapnel Records, you know, he signed my band and it was vocals and I sang. And then he said, well, let's just put out an instrumental album to start. And then the second album had vocals. And from there, every album always had vocals. But I think it just, you know, it's like, no, not another singing guitar player. But yeah, I'm always, and especially, you know, Chris Cornell was influential. So during this lockdown period, I did some acoustic EPs and put them out, and I did all different covers of everything. Things you wouldn't expect. Things like, because I love a lot of feel-good 60s, 70s music.
Yeah, so your video
so
with
the cover of like Young Rascals, How Can I Be Sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very it's very interesting that your voice when you're talking and the voice when you're singing is perfectly the same. The timbre.
You think so?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because usually when usually when I talk, people say I sound like either Yogi Bear or Alf, that puppet, or Bernie Sanders, this U.S. politician. Yeah, I usually get that.
Yeah, but I like it.
I think Bernie Sanders too.
Yeah. The sound is very. You can recognize that you're the singer. So.
But it also depends, you know, because different songs you want to sing a different way. You know, Asia, like I'm the singer of the band Asia. You know, I never meant to be so bad to you. That one, you have to sing more nasal, chin out, chesty. You know, it's more of that kind of sound. I saw you standing hand in hand and like very little vibrato.
Yeah.
But then if you could sing something like, you know, it's going to be very bright, and very forward, and a lot of vibrato. It's a totally different voice, a different projection. You're, you know, doing different things. So it depends, you know. Yeah.
Wow. And what is your approach from a live approach and a studio approach? If you are something about warm up maybe before the show, and how do you approach yourself for a gig?
Well, definitely warm up. It's important, especially when you're doing a lot of shows. You need to pace yourself, and you need to keep it all healthy, and you don't want to do anything that could inhibit the next shows. Yeah. So a lot of vocal exercising before, starting off with just, and then always makes my nose itch, and then and the mouth goes, and all that stuff, and then getting into all these weird, la 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 la, and then maybe finish by screaming into my arm really loud, something like that, and then go and hit the stage and and do your thing.
Wow.
And then as far as guitar wise, nothing screws up my playing more than carrying luggage. It takes me 2 days after getting off a plane for my fingers to feel limber. So I definitely, when traveling, have to do a lot of warming up and just getting them moving and just playing. It's not a specific thing, it's just playing. I need to play for a good couple of hours until I'm myself again, and then it's easy. I could just play a little bit and go do a show. Yeah, but it's always good to be focused and before a show, get into the zone and practice and exercise everything and do all of that, and also for your confidence, because that's a big part of it too. You have to feel like you're 100%, and if you feel like I didn't really warm up, I'm not ready, I'm at 80%, that messes with your head. So even if for no other reason, just for your feeling like you've done your part and that you are prepared to hit that stage, because you have a responsibility to everybody that came to see you to be your best. You don't have to be perfect, you have to be your best, and there's a difference. Be human, that's okay. You can be imperfect, but you should at least be your best so that you can go to sleep at night knowing that no matter what happened, you did your best and you prepared the best you could, and that you gave it all you got. Yeah.
And I want to ask you about your VGA guitar. I don't know if my pronunciation is good. And about
correct.
Yeah, and about the fretless guitar. Yeah.
Here.
Wow. And
let's get some sound. Let's see what we got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what?
So you got the fretless, you got the fretted on bottom.
And which one do you prefer? The fretless one or the normal one?
Oh, I don't have to choose. I have both. So I prefer the fretless and the fretted. Not or, but and. Yeah, it's good to have both.
Yeah, but maybe I think that a fretless one is more similar to a voice, right? Maybe the sound of a fretless guitar is more similar to a voice, maybe. Because there's
in certain ways, yeah. Because the throat doesn't have frets, of course, so it's going to emulate that. It also has the imperfection that the human voice has, where you can just, make it more growly and just everything. So you can do all of that, where you can't quite do that with frets.
Yeah.
So it allows for that stuff. It's very good for dragging harmonics. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Cool.
So there's certain things you can do with this that you can't do with frets. With practice, you can certainly get down. can do chords on it. You just have to get your shapes down and tilt a little bit more this way so that you're at a good straight angle to everything. Yeah, it's doable. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Yeah.
And when you start to collaborate with VGA?
Oh yeah, I mean they were making fretless guitars long before I was around. So they had the single neck stuff. They didn't do any double necks. And I first discovered their fretlesses that they were making in 1998 when we went to the first NAMM show together. And like, why did you tell me you make these? This is amazing. And they told me, Patrice, the head of the company, he said that in 18 years since the company started in 1980, they sold 3 of them. Nobody wants them. I was like, oh, I want them. Give them to me. So they gave me a fretless. I took it home and I started writing songs with them. And immediately just started doing everything. I remember one of the first songs I wrote, it went like, which 10 years later ended up becoming the theme song of a popular music show in the US called That Metal Show on VH1. And yeah, because of the fretless, it got me writing things I wouldn't normally write. And eventually it reached a point where I was playing so much fretless, you know, with what I do, that I needed to access it during a song. I didn't want to have to play a whole song on fretted or a whole song on fretless, or have to switch guitars to do one or the other. So double neck, that seemed to be the viable solution. I thought about other things, like having on the back of the neck fretless fretboard where I can flip the middle of the guitar and suddenly it's the other side. But there was no way to do that. This just seemed to be the best way. So yeah, 2 necks. So now for all the crazy Sons of Apollo stuff, I keep this one tuned. With the 6th string tuned down like a 7th, like the low B.
Wow.
And then this one I keep drop D. So it's a lot of just switching back and forth. Whatever it is, try and switch really fast. And every time I switch, as I come down, I have to hit this neck switcher. So as I go from one neck to the other, I'm quickly hitting that up or hitting it down. And so it's like this, like fast, like ninja kind of. Switching pickups as I'm playing. Yeah, I really painted myself into a corner with the Sons of Apollo stuff. It is tough, some tough stuff. Yeah.
What about your shoulder with the guitar?
Well, you know, I used to be like this tall, and like over the years, like my body is compressing from the weight of this thing. Yeah. Next time you see me, I'm gonna be like 3 feet tall.
And I think that the most thing that I struck me the most about your playing is your independence of these 2 hands, of your right hand and your left hand. And I remember that first time that I saw on YouTube your video called 2 Scales at Once.
Oh,
It really blow my mind. And you have some exercises to do for the independence about these two hands, because you make something about with here.
Well, two separate hands or two things at once?
Oh, maybe
because
the separate
there are
hands.
two different things. Because two things at once could be singing and playing. It could be, just playing two parts at once. It could be like that, or so there's a lot of things. Independence, it all starts here. So it's about exercising this. What I find is the best way to develop independence is to, and this is really just for all kinds of playing and improvising and everything, is you have to treat it all like there's this buffer that all the information goes into before you actually start playing. You have to be thinking way ahead of what's actually happening. You have to always be thinking ahead. So whether it's a two-handed thing or whether it's two different parts or whatever it is, the way to start is to first develop that thinking ahead thing. So here's how we do that. We clean up the sound a little bit. Let's try this. Okay. So, to all you students out there, start off where we'll just take any chord, A, and you have to, this is the hardest thing a guitar player can do. You have to play just one whole note, because I know you're going to want to go all that. So you have to just play one note. So you have to choose with care. One note that is in this chord. It could be any root A, it could be any C sharp, it could be any E, fifth.
Yeah.
So let's just pretend this is someone strumming. Okay, the teacher is doing this, and the student goes, root, we'll just say one. Okay. 5. Easy enough, right? 3. 5. 1. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is you are going to, for every note you play, instead of naming the note you're playing, you have to at the same time name the next note you're playing.
Wow.
So you have to start off thinking of two notes. You play one while you're naming two.
Yeah.
And then when you play two, you're naming 3. When you play 3, you're naming 4. You're always ahead of your playing.
Right, yeah.
So it'll be something like this. 5. I'm playing the 1 right now.
Yeah.
Next I'll play 5. 1. Then I'll play a 1 next. 3. Next I'll play a 3. 1. And then I'll finish with 1. So like that. The next step, 2 chords. Let's go. A, E. So what we'll do is start off naming the same note. So give me a 1, a 3, or a 5 over the A, and then a 1, 3, or 5, and just one note over the E. So here we go. 1, 5, 3, 1, something like that. But next, you have to do the same thing, but you have to name the next note. So now, not only are you naming a note in a degree that is of the next thing you're playing, but it's of a different chord than you're on. So now you're really starting to think ahead, and you're really becoming very aware musically of what's ahead and what makes it up and what to do. So now you're starting to think ahead from a musical standpoint instead of just saying, I'm on A, so I'm going to play all my A riffs. I'm on E, so I'm going to play all my E riffs. No. Always think about what's coming next. And the good thing about that is that when you use it for your phrasing, you realize that what you're playing now is not about now. It is about leading up to the finish of it for what comes next to make it more special. So, with that, let's say you want to get into same two chords, let's take. And you're doing the same thing where we're just playing one note. Just one note per chord. 3. 3. 1. We're on the same one. 1. Now, what key is this in? Well, you have this and this and this and this, and you put them together. And it feels like it gives the big rock ending on this. So let's say it's A, just straight up diatonic, Ionian. So for every note now, you have to lead in with a note, any note, just an eighth note before it. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be 2, 3, 4. Then let's take it a step further. 2 notes. Okay. Something like that. And then you start to realize that the phrase you're making is not necessarily about now. It's about how you finish and how it links up to the music in the end. Mm-hmm. And that's what's going to make a meaningful phrase.
Yeah.
So the whole thinking ahead thing is very valuable. Yeah. And it also leads to a lot of separation of, where you can do 2 things at once. Yeah. Because you're not just saying, okay, my muscles remember these riffs, so I'm just going to play them and, think about dinner. Maybe you can get to that point where you're thinking musically about all that and thinking about dinner. But for now, you want to be thinking about what is happening next musically, mm-hmm. and how do I get there to do something special. Mm-hmm. So whatever makes that happen, whatever it is, it could be anything. Whatever.
Wow.
Doesn't matter. I mean, that all comes with time. We're just, living with the instrument in your hands. But the way you think is what you need to develop. And then you apply that to whatever.
Yeah.
So it's all about thinking ahead and developing the ability to play now while already have the music laid out inside you, ready to come out.
Yeah. So man, thanks for these lessons, because yeah, it's not an interview but it's a lesson. So thanks.
Oh, sure.
And yeah. So we leave you because maybe it's time for lunch for you. Maybe I don't know. So.
Yeah. Actually, it's time. It's 3:00 here. So I think it's time to start working on some more music.
Yeah.
Making some more crazy music of some kind. Something. Yeah.
So we have some questions about the
the last question, maybe.
Yeah, the last question about Sons of Polo, and very nice. What about the writing session with Sons of Polo? Can you tell us?
With writing, usually the way it works is it's me and Derek, where really me, Derek, and Mike, we have this email thread where Derek writes riffs and sends them to the 2 of us. I write riffs and send it to the 2 of them, and we have this just collection of ideas ready to go. Then we meet up and we turn them into songs. We just pick out of the hat, which riff do you want to go with? Cool. And then from there, we just continue writing on the spot, and we just write the rest of the songs and come up with new ideas and everything together. And by the evening, by dinner time, we have song pretty much done, and then we start thinking about the next one, and we just do that and bust out a record. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty fast, so it's good.
Okay, so
Yes.
Ron, thanks for your time. Thanks for your time, and when we leave this interview with a song, your song called I don't know who to pray to anymore. Yeah, I don't know if I pronunciation well, and
Yes.
because it's a song that we love so much, and
I heard a lot of Beatles in the
Yeah.
song. I hope to not offend you.
There's a few moments to it. The
It's,
kind of change right there, like the
it's-
shifting
it's
from
beautiful.
majors to minors, modally in moments. You know, can have that.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
wow,
and also the end solo has a bit of that
yeah,
kind of feel to it. It definitely has a bit of that kind of thing going on.
And the video, and the
so-
video too is beautiful.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Good.
It's-
So, thank you, and to all the students and everybody watching, thank you so much. I hope you all stay healthy and be well and stay musical. And
You too,
I'll see
you
you
too.
all hopefully in Italy in 2021.
Yeah,
we hope really, really.
Thank you, man.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good.
Quindi
Good.
ragazzi,
Have a great night.
yeah,
Thank you.
thanks. Quindi ragazzi, vi lasciamo con un brano di Ron, un brano fantastico. Quindi grazie a tutti voi che avete partecipato, grazie a voi che ci avete seguito. Potrete chiaramente eccoci, potrete riascoltare la diretta nei nostri video sulla pagina MMI Roma. Vi aspettiamo, se volete passare a trovarci, siamo sempre qui e godiamoci
Qui però, qui in questa sala, ci troviamo sempre in questa sala.
e godiamoci Ron Thal. Un abbraccio. Non si è sentito quello che abbiamo detto all'inizio. Avevamo detto che oggi siamo praticamente da soli. Vincenzo Grieco ci ha lasciato da soli.
Non ci ha lasciato, ma ci ha lasciato da solo. Scherzo.
Quindi abbiamo fatto un po' tutto noi. Scusate se ci sono stati dei problemi. Ci vediamo alla prossima. Un abbraccio.
Ciao a tutti.
Once upon a time a child grew up too fast, went running wild. Now we don't know who to pray to anymore. I once thought God was good and kind, then Mother Nature blew my mind and left my broken body on the floor. Now I don't know who to pray to anymore. But when the world gets real and I start to feel, the first thing I do is turn to you and then pull away till comes the day where I just can't live and learn to forgive. I've got a song that needs to be sung, but I don't know who to play to anymore. We bet away what's in our hand, and then we're told it was the plan. They say all's fair, but someone's keeping score. I've seen it all, I've seen the lies, false promises, for compromise. Fought every battle, but still I lost the war. And now I don't know who to pray to anymore. But when the world gets real and I start to feel, the first thing I do is turn to you and then pull away until comes the day where I just can't live and learn to forgive. I know I've changed, can't find my way when all is dark, or is it my heart that won't come to the light? I'm back to myself as a show for you to see. So maybe you'll agree that you should have been there more for me. Got an old guitar that needs to be strung, but I don't know who to play to anymore. I don't know who to pray to anymore. So why should I still believe when everyone's out to deceive, and all our dreams get washed back on the shore? And fate will prove to be most cruel, yet hope remains for the helpless fool. Pawns of selfish right and righteous wrong. No, I don't know who to pray to anymore. I don't know who to pray to anymore.